Good evening, Bulldog fans, and welcome into the Coach's Show on RiverCountrySports.com. I am your host, TJ Vickers, and joined along me is Coach Kyler Hall, as he is every week. Coach, we got a lot we could talk about as far as this season is concerned. Ended in a tough playoff loss. Godby got the better of us, and there's so much more to the story than just that one game. So we're going to focus on the positive. But this team battled and left it all out there, and unfortunately, Godby just got the best of us right there at the end.
Yeah, they did. Hats off to Godby. They're a gritty team. They've found ways to win. All year we saw that twice firsthand. But I just think with our kids, man, they battled. I mean, every game was a battle. I mean, you can legit go through the schedule, and there wasn't one game that wasn't a battle, wasn't close. Wasn't adversity that the kids had to go through. And from the very beginning, we battled injuries and different setbacks, hurricane, threw some games off and, pushed the games. I mean, there was a lot that this group dealt with, but I think they dealt with it in stride. They kept going. They didn't let it, um, discourage them. They kept at it, and we lost some good players to injuries, which you hate to see, especially for the seniors. You hate, for their season and career to end early. But very proud of this group. In many ways, we were a young group. We had a good group of seniors that really did everything that they could, played extremely hard, and I thought with Friday, you know, our kids played well enough to win the game. Um, you know, we knew Godby again. We had already seen them, so we knew the level of play that we had to stop and the level of play that we had to play at. We did some things throughout the game that hurt us. Obviously the ending. Uh, you know, first time I've been a part of an ending like that. It's tough to be on the losing end of that one. But it was really, man, a great game, a classic game. High school kids going at it, playing the game the right way. I mean, it's a gut punch to the program, to the kids, to just to go through that. I mean, there's really no words that you can say, after the game or even now. It's just one of those things that you got to somehow deal with and find a way to regroup. And I think for the seniors, find a way to use that as just a reminder, a lesson, like just finishing. There's always something that you could take, but man, that was a tough way to end it. Because I know this group, man, they did a lot of good things, and that was a game, that we coulda, shoulda, all that good stuff. But God, we got it. We didn't. Hats off to them. But um, to say I'm proud of this group is an understatement.
Absolutely. All of us here too. We couldn't echo your statements more with that. Just how proud we are of this group. And you talked about it, Kyler. It was one of the things I wanted to bring up. The adversity, the list of adversity that they went through. To start a season off 1-5, to not have a solid practice field. And most of these things are out of their control. The hurricane that they had to deal with. Just at one point in time, we're thinking we're going to have 3 games within an 8-day window.
Yeah,
Like there was a lot that they had to battle through, but they always picked themselves up off the mat, and they were always ready for the next challenge.
yeah, they did. And it's you mentioned like with the field, it really became well. This it is what it is. There was never really complaints. Um, we're appreciative to Coach Billy and the baseball program for allowing us to use the field, use that outfield there. I mean, it served a great purpose, because if we didn't have that option, we would have been in the pickle. So we appreciate Coach Billy and um, our kids again. They adapt and overcame and um, never complained, never griped about it. We walked out to the outfield and we got the practice in. And so next year, obviously, the field will be ready. But that was just one of those things that we had to adjust, adapt and make the best out of the opportunity.
Plenty more coming up here on the Coaches Show. For now, let's get into our first commercial break.
Hi, my name is Katherine Haney. My grandfather and my dad, Wes Haney, have been selling and servicing Chevrolets in the Swanee Valley area since 1968.
I'm here with my brothers, Weston and Jonathan. We want to tell you why Wes Haney Chevrolet is the best place to buy a car.
At Wes Haney Chevrolet comes down to two things: low prices and excellent customer service. You are a part of the family just as much as we are. Your happiness is my dad's first priority. He will always fight to make sure you get the best deal and the best experience.
My dad doesn't play games and he doesn't charge dealer fees, so we can always get you the best price. We have amazing incentives this month to put together a great deal on any Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. The best built, longest lasting vehicles on the road. We guarantee a better deal and customer experience than you can get anywhere else.
We would love to show you our beautiful selection of new and used vehicles. We are located in Live Oak, Florida on Highway 90 East. I can guarantee our dad will give you the best deal, and we are excited to earn your business.
This is Wes Haney, and as always, no dealer fees, no games. Come see my team at Wes Haney Chevrolet.
And welcome back here to the Coaches Show. The Coaches Show is brought to you by our sponsor, West Haney Chevrolet of Live Oak. The Bulldog Bark and the Blast from the Past is brought to you by Howard Street Dry Cleaners. Thank you to Hardee's of Live Oak for providing our meal for the Coaches Show. Coach, we don't want to spend too much time on the game because we know it's just, too painful to really talk about. But some of the standout performances, we'll run through some key players here. Thomas Sykes ended the night 12 for 16 for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, added 29 yards on the ground. I feel like I've said this a couple times, but he just keeps having better and better performances. So again, that's probably the best performance Thomas has put together in a Bulldog uniform.
Yeah, had a great night. Playoff football, we talked about with him that everything is everything is amped up, everything's elevated. So your performance and your focus has to match that elevation. And I thought he showed up and he performed. Um, Thought he ran the ball very effective. Was on the money with throws. I think that was just a reflection of the entire season, his body of work as he's gotten better each and every week. And so definitely gave us a chance to win the game. I thought he battled very well and against a very good Godby team, to put up those numbers. But yeah, thought he played probably his best game of the year.
MJ Rawson always seems to be the best player on the field, regardless of position,
Yeah,
regardless of the opponent. And nonetheless, this past Friday night was another example of that. Found a way to get into the end zone a couple more times. MJ just, I cannot say enough of what that young man has done this year.
yeah, stellar season, stellar career. Um, you know, battled back and came back from injury last year to you know even better than he was before the injury, which is tough to do at
Yeah.
times because of the mental battle that comes along with injuries. But man, he laid it on the line every Friday night, and as you said, I I thought he was the best player on the field every Friday night, regardless of who we played, and played all three phases of the game. Didn't come out hardly ever. Um, you know, Maybe the most impressive play that he didn't make was when he broke on the ball. Thought he had the interception,
Mhm.
and he probably would have, but his shoe busted on that play. He came over and said, "Coach," and he pointed down at his shoes, and he had a flat tire, shoe busted out. But that was an impressive play in itself, the break on the ball. But yeah, I mean, we could sit here and talk the entire show about what MJ did his senior year. He was named voted the all district player of the year, so he's going to go down and play in the Florida Joint or the Florida North South All Star game down in the Villages, and he's going to go and play at the next level. We're going to find him a great place. Somebody's going to get a great player, great person, but just a tremendous effort this year.
Clay Starling gets the start at the running back position on top of all the responsibilities he has on the defensive side of the ball. Played a great all around game and was a leading rusher on the night for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, man, Clay played a gritty game. Um, we were very thin at linebacker all year, and he was one of those seniors. After Sakaris went down, he was the lone senior there in that linebacker group. So we asked a lot out of him on defense, on special teams, and then the last two games he had to step up at running back, and I thought he did it. Man, he played physical style at the running back position. Just gave it everything he had. I know he was exhausted at the end of the game, and man, he's one of those kids I hate it for because of all the effort that he's put in his 4 years with us. And a multi-sport kid, he's going to take a week off and go right into wrestling, and then he's right into track and weightlifting. So just a tremendous kid, just a tough old school ball player. And I thought he battled Friday.
And hats off to the offensive line for
Yeah,
clearing the
man.
way for him, or Thomas Sykes, whoever else, MJ, who had the ball a few times. Hats off to the offensive line, and they definitely made an impact on the ground and gave Sykes time to stand in the pocket and deliver a pass when he needed to.
Yeah, that group, we had the two seniors of Will Brown and Ramirez who played multiple positions this year. Both of them had some turns at center, played some guard. But man, you know, again, love those two seniors. They've meant a lot to the program. Great kids, great leaders. Um, and then the rest of those guys, they're all coming back
Yep.
next year. So I think if anything, this can bring them closer together. But that was a group which most of the time the O line gets the least amount of attention, until it's negative attention, whether it's quarterback
Yep.
getting sacked or missed block, whatnot. But that group deserves a lot of praise for what they did establishing the run game. I thought their pass protection got better throughout the year. But that was a really solid group, and looking forward to next year of what they can do.
Well, that group helped clear the way for a couple of guys we've already mentioned, but Freddie Cooks was another one. It was all hands on deck for any of the running backs, and Cook certainly did his part on Friday night.
Yeah, man. Fast Freddy, as we call him. You know, I think he's really grown up as a player. Um, as a defensive back, I thought he became one of our better players this year, playing the free safety possession, a physical player, good in the pass coverage. And then at running back, the things that he was able to step in and be effective, special teams guy as well. So really proud of Freddie and everything that was thrown on him as a sophomore, but thought he did a tremendous job.
Another guy on the offensive side of the ball that, again, just continues to stack very impressive weeks. Another week, another touchdown catch for Noah Lopez, too, actually, has looked great these last couple of weeks after coming back from injury.
Yeah, he did, man. That guy's a dog. I mean, he's the true definition of what it means to be a dog. And we've joked about the height and all that stuff. Man, he's a competitor. Um, Baseball, he gets after it. He's intense. He's focused. Football, same way, man. He practices with an edge all the time. He plays with an edge, and he just finds a way to get open. Knows how to run the routes. Knows the offense. I mean, probably as good as anybody. Really, as a coach on the field, and man, he's really, especially this latter end of the season, stepped up and made big plays. But that was just a reflection of the things he's been doing in practice since day one.
Well, and you can almost coincide with just Thomas Sykes' improvement through the year, almost with Noah Lopez coming back. And, again, this is tough to talk about today because we know that the season has come to a close. But if there's any positive to take away from this coach, it's that Thomas Sykes and Noah Lopez are going to be back next year and be able to make a huge impact.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at that receiving core that's coming back. MJ, was the lone senior receiver. You had Brooks at the tight end, but man, that was such a young group, and Lopez really stepped up this year. Looking back at last year as a sophomore, didn't get a ton of catches, but man, never pouted. Never made it about him. He would block or do whatever was necessary,
Mhm.
for the offense and for the team. And I think you saw that payoff this year. And I think that's a great lesson, just for all players, really all athletes and people in general, man. Just do your job. And it may not be exactly how you want it at first, but if you stay diligent and you stick with it, the payoff is going to come. But that's tough to do, man. It's a trait that's getting more rare these days. Is or if you don't get your way, then we pout or we leave or we do whatever instead of what, I'm gonna keep working. And when my number is called and I got to be ready, I'm gonna be ready. And I think Lopez just exemplified that.
Another player who stepped up, kind of got a glimpse into the future of what Swanee running backs might look like. Troy Nelson got a few
Yeah.
carries here or there, helping spell Starling and Cooks. And in his limited reps, I thought I saw a couple plays there where you could really see there's something with that young man.
Yeah, Troy has an opportunity to be a really special running back. We saw glimpses of it this year on the JV. He's built like a running back. He's got good vision, good footwork, and the plan was to get him some carries. We're going to get him some carries last week. Didn't get there, but we're going to make sure that we had got him some carries Friday night. And I thought he got in there and did a really good job, protected the ball. ran it hard, and so Troy's going to be one to really keep an eye on the next 3 years.
Switching over to the defense side of the ball, Kyler Watson, a gutsy performance to be out there considering all the injuries he's been battling this year, and came away with a big sack and actually led us this year on the team, 7 sacks on the season.
Yeah, you know, I think the best attribute of Kyler is, one, he understands the defense. He's going to ask a lot of questions. He watches film. He's always very well prepared. And if you look at him just from a defensive end standpoint, he's not the biggest guy. But with what we do up front, it just kind of fits what he does well. He can move and slant and change directions very well. He can read the offense. So, man, I thought and he's just tough, man. He gets after it. So I thought he had a really big year, just a sophomore. So you're just kind of seeing the beginnings of what he can be.
He's got a pretty good first name too, don't you think?
He does.
Your unbiased opinion, right?
He must have some smart parents to make that.
Dellen Allen, a big guy up front there, made an impact in the backfield all night and certainly was a big part of the success we had this year.
Yeah, he was. Very proud of Delwyn. And we've talked about it, but he had to make the choice to buy into playing D-line. He's a linebacker at heart. I mean, when he first got here, he was a receiver, but he's put on some pounds since that, and he's transitioned more into that H-back, that heavy running back, defensive line, emergency linebacker if, we need it. And he played some this year, but he really bought into what we needed him to do. Had he not, we would not have been as good as we were at times defensively. And even, going back to last year, and he had to battle some at the end of the year this year with some injuries, but he played through it. He played tough. And, man, he's one we're definitely going to miss. And he's another, great Allen that's come through here and has really represented that family well. But very proud of Delwyn and just the example he showed of buying in, that, putting the team before himself.
Another young man that we got back on the field this past Friday night and we get to look forward to these next couple years is Jace Moran. Like I said, back in the lineup, not 100% healthy, but gave everything he had and made a huge tackle for loss on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, he did. We had got banged up, a couple weeks ago, and didn't know if he was going to play this week. He really, been rehabbing with Mr. Jordan, and all the way up really until the day before the game is when, we kind of figured that he was going to be able to at least give it a shot, and went out there and made some impact plays. Another sophomore, of that very talented group. But, man, he just plays. He's kind of got that it factor where, he's not the biggest out there on the field, but, man, he plays 100% every rep, goes full speed, plays some running back, he can kick it. He's obviously what he did at linebacker. He played safety, really whatever was needed, and he understood every assignment when you put it on him. So very proud of Jace. He's going to transition here and get ready for baseball, big-time baseball kid as well. But I thought he had a really stellar year.
Plenty more coming up here on the Coaching Show. For now, let's get into the Bulldog Bark.
Hi, I'm Keith Hunter, and this is the Bulldog Bark. And joining me today on the Bulldog Bark, I've got Mr. Willie McClendon and Mr. Alfred Smith. Mr. McClendon is the father of former Bulldog standout Rodney McClendon, and Alfred Smith is the father of former Bulldog and Florida State standout Eric Smith. Mr. Smith is also the uncle of one of the Bulldog greatest hitters on defense, Terrence Humphrey. Douglas High School recently had their reunion, and of course, Mr. McClendon and Mr. Smith were legends at Douglas. But they were in a unique position as they also played at Swanee. Swanee High and Douglas integrated back in the 1960s. They join me today to tell their story. This is the Bulldog Bark.
Who was that after we played? We had to play in the daytime, and we had to wear our uniforms back home on the bus.
Lachaway.
Lachaway. Those were the rivals. Yeah. But our senior year, our last year at Douglas, it was my junior year and his sophomore year. Alfred was the quarterback. I was one of the running backs. And we went over to Lake City over to Richardson that year, and we won the game 6-0. And Alfred can tell you a little more about it. He was the quarterback.
All right. Yeah, well, we had MacArthur Linton
Yeah.
and Champ, our coach. And they always, when we practiced, they always say blood, sweat, and tears. But we didn't, really didn't know what that meant until we got over to Lake City. And played Lake City. We had to shed blood, sweat, and tears that game. But when we played them in Live Oak, the guys were little. When we played them in Lake City, they had group out a foot. And we said, whoa. But then what amazed you about it, that it was great competition. Right. And what taught us back then, the guys that we had looked up to ahead of us and before us, we knew this was our last year. Yeah. And we trying our very best to be an undefeated season. So we knew if we beat Lake City, because Lake City and Perry used to thunder on Live Oak. Basketball, football, baseball, man, that was some rivalry. And we can't leave Jasper. Right. And we can even go to Madison. Man, these little towns, and then we can go to O'Brien, when O'Brien wasn't a part of this up here in Live Oak with Douglas, man. O'Brien used to play on the clay court. We go down there and them little guys would just thunder all over. When they come back up here, we would get them. It was just good rivalry, good competition. But when you stop and look back at E.K. Bag, Walter Patterson, Big Pecan.
Oh, yeah. His uncle, Eddie Kelly.
Eddie Kelly. Let's go to call them guys' names, and now some people look and say, how you remember? We used to look up to them guys, man.
Right.
These guys meant something to us, man. You got Lent Ford, Earl Ford.
Right.
And you say, how do y'all, think about all these guys, and say, they just was just ours, man, in a sense. Not praising them more than you praise God, but then you got to have somebody on this earth you look up to, too.
Right, exactly. And then, too, Alpha, what I remember, since we're on the property of Douglas High School, our football field was over there by the band hall. And at the end of each game, Keith, we would join under that east goal post and sing the alma mater that we're going to sing tonight. Oh, Douglas, how we praise thy name. And all the football players would pull off their helmets and gather around that east goal post by the band hall, and we would sing that song with so much integrity, with so much authority, with so much conviction that Alfred and I, we were younger guys, but it inspired us to want to be a Douglas Tiger from little boys. And when our opportunity came, we didn't resist the opportunity of getting under that east goal post and singing our alma mater.
And the joyous part about you to come to the game, and you see those guys out there on the field playing, we little fellas will be over there on the side on the grass.
That's right.
Playing football too.
That's right.
During the time the game going, because we want to be like them. We want to be just carry the tradition they had built and carried on. And a lot of people wouldn't think that, even down to our cheerleaders, man, we took pride.
That's right.
We took pride. But then we accepted the fact that I went on to play basketball.
You were pretty good too.
Yeah, I was good.
He was good. He was pretty good. He was good.
Yeah, you don't believe that's Coach Blaylock.
It's on the record. Yeah.
But just to let you know about just caring, we were just talking about how can we instill some of that in this next generation of young guys coming up, because so many young guys now, they start when they little and mama go all the way through hell and everything, but when they get to their high school ranks, it's so easy to quit.
Right.
See, back in the day, we wasn't quitting. Once you started, you had to make the season.
And after that, we was talking earlier about the parents and the fathers being at the games, and I got to remember, since we started this interview, I remember when guys like Eddie Kelly was playing. His daddy, Mr. Kelly, was there. When Bubba Carter was running back, Doc Carter was on the sideline. Thomas Washington was playing, Edgar Washington was on the sideline. And they would be talking to them boys, and it was just like them boys could hear their daddies talking. I remember so vividly Doc Carter walking the sideline and Douglas with a trench coat on and said, look out, Bubba, cut back to the right. And just as he's talking, Bubba don't hear his daddy, but the moment he said that, Bubba would make the cut. Edgar Washington would tell Thomas, look out, Tom, he's coming your way now. You see number 67 lighting him up, buddy.
So one game where Thomas Washington played football with a broke leg. Broke leg?
Yeah,
right. Nowadays, you be on the sideline of your street clothes with a broke leg.
Who was Thomas's?
And you come back to his son. He was a horse.
Marcus
Nelson. He was a horse. And you go, just like Terry Williams, we can get, just some of the younger guys, you can call their name, just like that played. And you go, just go back to that day and time that Pittman had a great team. But see, the Black Panthers still strong on these young men.
Right.
You went out there to play for Pittman, you wasn't going to quit.
That's right.
You signed on. Don't care how you come down, well, I'm going to quit, Daddy, you ain't doing it right. No, you're not quitting, son. You're going to make the season, then next year.
So those are the things. These guys inspired us to want to be like them. So we have to be the scions and the heroes to instill this in the younger generation coming back. We got to reach back and grab that younger generation.
All right, I want to thank you, Mr. McClendon and Mr. Smith, for joining me on the Bulldog Bark. You know, Mr. McClendon, you mentioned that you guys wanted to be a scion and also have an impact on the youth in our community. Well, I definitely can say that you surely did. You know, back when I was 18, you both were instrumental in my life and definitely pointed me in the right direction. I want to thank you guys again for joining me on the Bulldog Bark and continue to do the great things that you're doing in our community. This has been the Bulldog Bark.
Do you have a valuable garment that requires professional and quality dry cleaning? Your jeans need heavy starch, your slacks need hemming, or your wedding gown needs preserving? Hop on over to one of the 5 convenient locations, Howard Street Dry Clean in Live Oak, Town & Country Dry Clean in Perry, Madison Cleaners in Madison, or one of the 2 Cloud Cleaner locations in Lake City. All 5 locations have a convenient full-service drive-thru to better serve you. Each visit is greeted with a smile by a friendly and knowledgeable staff member. When you pick up your items, your satisfaction is guaranteed. As always, your business is appreciated. Visit one of the 5 locations today to ensure you are dressed to impress.
And welcome back here to the Coaches Show. The Coaches Show is brought to you by our sponsors, West Haney Chevrolet, Hardee's of Live Oak, and Howard's Dry Street Cleaners. Coach, we started the season off 1-5, but certainly found our footing there through the season, and we've got a late playoff push where we put ourselves in a position to make the playoffs like we ended up doing. So, in your eyes, what was the main difference between the way the season started and then how we started having success later in the season?
Well, I think if you look at the competition level that we played, from all the way back to the spring, and that was a big reason of playing Bradford and Buchholz
Yep.
was to prepare them for the type of teams we were going to see. Bishop Kenny, which they're playing this week. They're going to play Godby. So would love to play those guys again, but that we had them in the Classic. Columbia was in the playoffs. Fayette, won a big game. They're in the playoffs this week, or they're in the second round. Madison, which is probably going to win the state championship in the rural division, and then then we hit Godby, which they're obviously still in it, and then we had Appling County, which Appling's got a great chance to win state in their division up in Georgia. And so, we go through these battles, and then, throughout most of that stretch, we were down upwards to 9 guys, and most of those being starters
Yep.
at one point. So I think just the combination of, guys that were second string having to step up and not be starters um, during that stretch. And then once we started getting those guys back healthy, which hit about the Baker counties when we kind of got a lot of those guys back and let that one slip away from us. And then that next week, homecoming, which, adds a little bit of added motivation to it. But you got a Perry team that was coming in, confident. Granted, they had just gotten beaten by Florida High, but that was really kind of the last chance where we have to win this game, and we got to win the next one. So I think it was just that combination of pushing through and playing through injuries, getting those guys back, and then once we kind of got most of them back healthy, then we started to click a little bit and play with some confidence. We got over that hump of finishing the game against Taylor County, then went on the road, against a bigger school in Atlantic Coast, and got a much needed win there. And then we got the thrilling win against Childs, which looking back at it, had we not won that game, we're either going to be sitting in the 8th seed or maybe not in the playoffs at
Sure.
all. So going back to the beginning of the year, we were going through that stretch, we knew it was going to have to be a 5-5 or a 4-6 to get in. But part of that was our strength of schedule really helped us out.
Mhm.
So there was a lot, but man, it really just comes back to the kids sticking with it because they had every opportunity to quit, stop playing hard. And I think especially for a banged up senior group accompanied with a very younger group behind that, I think they showed some maturity and,
Absolutely.
a lot of grit to stick with it, go on the win streak, get ourselves in that position. Um, and that makes this thing even worse because of everything they went through, and just thought this group really had an opportunity to make a run. But I think that was all those things, pieced together was why we played the way we did in the end.
Well, every single group, you can go position group by position group. We kind of had a key player out in every single position group, but one that
Yeah,
definitely seemed to take the lead was the running back position. We saw, and later in the season, we saw us switch the way that we would do our offensive flow, where maybe instead of two tight ends, it was one tight end and a six offensive linemen. So we did
yeah,
start seeing some success with that, where it's like, okay, well, we're still one to establish the ground game when we can. Yes, we're down running backs, but we're going to do what we can to run the ball effectively. And we certainly did see that, and how much of that shift in mindset fueled the late season success we had.
yeah. The running back position definitely took a toll with injuries with Lou Jack and Jadarius Horn. Because I just wanted an opportunity to see this group full steam with
Yeah,
with everybody.
that would have been fun.
Looking at Hunter Watson, looking at Sakaris, looking at Jack Harrington, man, these guys that just, you know, they whether season injury or, couldn't get, back fully healthy was very frustrating because those are all really big pieces of what we do. Some of those being seniors, fortunately we get some of them back next year. But that was, I think, the most frustrating thing is not having that group, fully healthy all the way through. But I think the group that stayed the healthiest, and we were a little banged up early um, in the year, but that offensive line
Yep.
group, and that's kind of a group. If you're going to have a younger group or a season that's kind of you know filled with injuries, that's kind of the group that you want to at least stay consistent and
Mhm.
stay healthy. And I think we saw that, and we had some different combinations of starters with that group. We moved some guys around. We had multiple centers this year. But I think they were a big reason why we were able to go to the running back by committee is because that group there was solid. And then you had guys that were ready for the opportunity like Clay and Delwin, Jace, um, Freddie Cooks, all the guys that played some running back, MJ with what he did in the backfield.
Mhm.
I think, you know, all of that, uh, especially start with the offensive line, was a reason we were able to, kind of get the different look instead of the two tight end look. Hunter Watson was that second tight end that went out. So we were forced to go more of a heavy set and extra lineman, which really, paid off down the stretch, I thought.
And we both touched on it here tonight on the show. That is a pretty young group. Like,
They
yes,
are.
we are going to lose a couple contributing seniors and some starters, but man, that's a pretty good young group of juniors and sophomores that we were relying on this season. So I know every year is a new year and every team is a new team with its own identity, but
Yeah.
how much do you think the success we've had late in the season with these bigger sets, maybe do we see transfer over to next season?
Oh, I think without a doubt it will, because it allows you to play a physical smash mouth style of football, which, man, it's hard to defend. I've been up against it. Um, I've seen it, and man, that style, that's it's tough, and that style usually, you know, gets the success, and they get the playoff, success, and that's what we're looking to gain going into next year. But very excited about that offensive line group. They made so big of gains from their sophomore year to this year, like physically in the weight room, putting on weight. So now excited to see what they're going to do from now till next year, because that's the group that could really set the tone for next season.
Let's take a stroll down memory lane with Keith Hunter and a blast from the past.
Hi, I'm Keith Hunter, and this is a Dog Blast. And tonight we recap this exciting football season. We started out with a defeat to Lake City 13-0. battle for the Oaken Bucket. The Dogs then came home and played against Lafayette County, defeated the Hornets by the score of 21-13. One of the first times playing them in a very long time. Again, the Dogs played Madison on the losing end, 43-26. It's a tough opponent, that Madison County. Then a very exciting district game over in Godby. The Dogs fell 29-26. Then traveled to Appleton County in Baxter, Georgia, losing 35-16. And then one more defeat. For the fourth consecutive time, the Dogs had the fourth straight defeat, losing to Baker County, 27-17. And then it all turned around. A homecoming victory over Taylor County, 27-6, followed by a trip to Jacksonville. The Dogs took on Atlantic Coast, offensive explosion, 42-14. Then a historical game against Charles, Kyler Hall versus Bill Reagans, two Bulldog greats going head-to-head. The Dogs come out on top, 25-24. Then we played Wakulla over there. Tight game, lost 28-21. And then finally on the playoff, the Dogs lose 34-28 in a heartbreaking contest. Looking back, it still was a season where the Dogs showed a lot of resilience. Perseverance comes to mind as well. The Dogs could have easily hung it up, but the Dogs continued to play. To lose 4 straight and then come back and win 3 straight, that's a testament to the Bulldogs. As we close out, take a look at some of the exciting plays made by the Swanee Bulldogs. And a lot of those plays were made by number 5, Michael Rawson, who definitely will have to be the MVP of this 2024 football campaign for the class of 2025. I'm Keith Hunter, and we will see you next year for another exciting season of Bulldog football. All of these great plays that were made this year, a lot of these plays they'll be talking about 30 to 40 years later. That 2-point conversion, that touchdown catch by Michael running backwards, the plays by Fryer, the plays by the quarterback, great plays all around. And I tell you what, again, this season is defined by 2 words, perseverance and resilience. This has been a Dog Blast, and we'll see you next year.
Do you have a valuable garment that requires professional and quality dry cleaning? Your jeans need heavy starch, your slacks need hemming, or your wedding gown needs preserving? Hop on over to one of the 5 convenient locations, Howard Street Dry Clean in Live Oak, Town and Country Dry Clean in Perry, Madison Cleaners in Madison, or one of the 2 Cloud Cleaner locations in Lake City. All 5 locations have a convenient full-service drive-thru to better serve you. Each visit is greeted with a smile by a friendly and knowledgeable staff member. When you pick up your items, your satisfaction is guaranteed. As always, your business is appreciated. Visit one of the 5 locations today to ensure you are dressed to impress.
Hi, my name is Catherine Haney. My grandfather and my dad, Wes Haney, have been selling and servicing Chevrolets in the Swanee Valley area since 1968.
I'm here with my brothers, Weston and Jonathan. We want to tell you why Wes Haney Chevrolet is the best place to buy a car.
At Wes Haney Chevrolet comes down to 2 things: low prices and excellent customer service. You are a part of the family just as much as we are. Your happiness is my dad's first priority. He will always fight to make sure you get the best deal and the best experience.
My dad doesn't play games and he doesn't charge dealer fees, so we can always get you the best price. We have amazing incentives this month to put together a great deal on any Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. The best built, longest lasting vehicles on the road. We guarantee a better deal and customer experience than you can get anywhere else.
We would love to show you our beautiful selection of new and used vehicles. We are located in Live Oak, Florida on Highway 90 East. I can guarantee our dad will give you the best deal, and we are excited to earn your business.
This is Wes Haney, and as always, no dealer fees, no games. Come see my team at Wes Haney Chevrolet.
And welcome back to the Coach's Show with Coach Kyler Hall. The Coach's Show is brought to you by our sponsor, West Haney Chevrolet and Live Oak. Stop by and check out their great inventory of new and used vehicles. You'll be glad that you did. And thank you to Hardee's of Live Oak for providing our meals throughout this year. Coach, well, speaking of next season, we got a handful of contributing underclassmen. They will be back next year, and they'll be hungrier than ever to avenge the way this season ended, led by quarterback Thomas Sykes.
Yep. You know, and unless you're that state champion, your season's going to end,
Yep.
In a disappointing way. Obviously, that's the goal, and that's what we expect and want to get to is that game and to win it. But unless you're that team, like it's going to end, poorly, and it's going to end in a way that you don't want it to end. And when it's over, and that's what we try to remind the kids is like, don't wait, lead now, put in the effort, put in the work now, because for these seniors, man, that's the last time they're ever going to play high school football, and for a lot of them, that's the last time they're going to play
Sure.
organized football. Um, and we tell these underclassmen, especially on that senior night, like, guys, you're going to be here, just like that. It's going to be here. It's going to be your time, and it just really flies by. So you try to get them to understand, just how one, how quickly it goes, but two, just the window of opportunity that you have to do something really special because it's a great place here and to build with your brothers because you're going to build relationships. They're going to be stronger than many that you build for the rest of your life. Like these are some of your best friends that you're going to have for life. And so you're building memories. And some are going to be disappointing and some are going to be great. And we've seen a little bit of both this year. But through all of it, there's going to be this bond that a lot of people won't have. We only had, you know, 45 varsity players, and
Mhm.
we're a school of, around 1,200. So there's only a select few that are willing to go out and play football.
Sure.
But it's such a rewarding sport. But it's also a very tough sport at times. Like it will break your heart. Like it will put you to tears. But when you do see those tears, as we saw a lot of those Friday night, um, it meant something to them,
Yeah.
and they invested, and you saw the pain. And it's really painful to see your seniors like that. And I went through it, and thousands of high school football players have been through it. But so one, I love the seniors that are leaving. They always have a home here. But for these underclassmen, um, there's a ton of work to do. We don't want to feel this feeling again. This time next year, we want to be practicing right now instead of, issuing, giving your gear back and turning in all your equipment. So the motivation is there. The drive has to be there. We have to have self starters that don't wait on somebody to tell them to go out and work. Man, they're going to go out and work. But with the talent that we have coming back, with the experience, with what we have been through, we do have the pieces that are there to really have a good team next year. But, we got to work, we got to bounce back, we got to recover. But I am excited about, Thomas and with what he did, all the skill guys coming back, the linemen. There's a ton of really good pieces coming back, but we can't just rely on being that. Like we've got to be much better and put in much more work than we did this year.
Well, Coach, this is compliments of Jamie Water from the Lake City Reporter. Thomas Sykes ended this season top 5 in school history for completion, yards, and touchdowns in a single season. And
Yeah.
this is his first year in the program. I'm sure Coach Gaddy's going to be more than happy to have him come back next year. So, did all that, battling through the injuries that he had with his skill players, being in a first year at a bigger program at a bigger school, trying to adjust everything on the fly. And so, the future is very bright with that young man under center.
Yeah, for sure. And he's a driven kid. He wants to be good. He wants to be great. He wants to put in the work. And he's one that you don't have to tell to go out and work. He's going to go out and do it. And we had started morning workouts. I think it was back in January that we started them. So it's right around the corner. We're going to get back into it. But yeah, great season he had. A lot of really good numbers. But I think he would tell you too that he would trade in making a deep run and winning a state championship for numbers. Numbers are great, and we like to look at them, and you can look back where you're finished. and see those accomplishments. But man, winning a district championship, winning a region championship, winning a state championship, those are the things that really matter. Those are the things that hold weight. And again, I think he would tell you that, and I think a lot of those guys would tell you that same thing. But great year that he had, and we've had a lot of really good quarterbacks come through Swanee. And hats off to Jamie too, man. Jamie, if it weren't for Jamie, we would have no stats. We'd have no records. Like he is
He is
phenomenal.
amazing at what he
He is,
does.
man. We really appreciate Jamie and all the efforts that he puts in. I saw him Saturday. Both of our daughters were in the school play, so Jamie's been phenomenal. Love chatting with him after wins or losses. Man, he's first class and everything that he does.
Absolute professional in what everything he does. So
Yep.
thank you, Jamie, for all that you've done this season.
Yep.
With the season coming to an end, we do have to bid farewell to some key playmakers, none more impactful than MJ Rosen. And Coach, this is also from Jamie as well. MJ Rosen, top 10 in receiving yards, receptions, and touchdowns in a single season for Swanee football history.
Yeah, not shocked by that at all. And this was my 18th season of coaching high school football, and I can count on about you know three fingers. And he's right
You
there.
don't even need a whole hand.
No, he's right there, and one of the best that I've ever coached. Um, and to do it again the way he did it, and the humbleness that he played the game with. But you never take that humbleness for weakness because man, he was a go getter on the field, and we saw it every Friday night. We saw the playmaking ability at receiver, the return game, defense, and again just playing so many plays. Like I think Friday he warned me, said, "Coach, I may need to come out." I said, "Well, just let me know." Well, he never let me know, so he just doesn't come off the field, and he's a great student. He has great character. He's very well respected amongst his teammates, his classmates, the teachers. And again, in this crazy day and age of recruiting and the college landscape, is really affected the high school kids as far as the recruiting process goes. But I'm telling you now, wherever MJ ends up, they're getting a first class kid and a big time player, and he's just scratching the surface of how good he's going to be. Because when you get that guy in the college weight room on the meal plan, like he's got the frame, he's going to
Yeah,
blow up.
definitely.
I mean, he's going to be a bully at the next level. But I love that kid, and just very proud of just the way he does everything.
We'll wrap up the coach's show right after this commercial break.
Hi, my name is Catherine Haney. My grandfather and my dad, Wes Haney, have been selling and servicing Chevrolets in the Swanee Valley area since 1968.
I'm here with my brothers, Weston and Jonathan. We want to tell you why Wes Haney Chevrolet is the best place to buy a car.
At West Haney Chevrolet, it comes down to two things: low prices and excellent customer service. You are a part of the family just as much as we are. Your happiness is my dad's first priority. He will always fight to make sure you get the best deal and the best experience.
My dad doesn't play games and he doesn't charge dealer fees, so we can always get you the best price. We have amazing incentives this month to put together a great deal on any Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. The best built, longest lasting vehicles on the road. We guarantee a better deal and customer experience than you can get anywhere else.
We would love to show you our beautiful selection of new and used vehicles. We are located in Live Oak, Florida on Highway 90 East. I can guarantee our dad will give you the best deal, and we are excited to earn your business.
This is Wes Haney, and as always, no dealer fees, no games. Come see my team at Wes Haney Chevrolet.
Well, Coach, you talked a little bit about it. What does it look like for an off season? So, unfortunately, we're at this point in the season now where we do have to turn the page to the next chapter. And so, what does the off season look like for us? When do we hopefully to get back out there on a new practice field now that everything's done with the track? Just kind of, I guess, walk us through everything that's going to happen until we start next time with the coaches show.
Yeah, so this week, is collecting gear and getting everything put up, inventory, and just kind of, closing out this year from that standpoint. So no lifting, just kind of give the kids this week off, as far as football and lifting weights. Then we go into the Thanksgiving break next week, which will be another week off, just to let yourself physically and mentally heal and get yourself better. So then once we come back, we'll have what 2.5, 3 weeks of school before the Christmas break. So during that time, we'll get back into the weight room. We'll do our winter testing where we'll test them on bench, squat, clean, some agility, some speed work. We'll do exit meetings with every player, returners and seniors. So again, just kind of close that chapter, And then once we get back in January, it's full speed ahead with the off-season program. Coach Marcy, one of the best in the state of taking care of our weight room. And most of our kids are playing multiple sports, whether, basketball is getting started up. We have wrestling. Baseball will be, once we get back, getting ready to start their preseason, track and field. So, a lot of these kids are doing multiple sports, but the biggest thing, man, we got to, really hammer it down in the weight room, get ourselves, faster with our speed work. One, just preparing, we saw some injuries this year, so we got to look at some things to make sure we're doing everything that we can as far as injury prevention. But yeah, pretty much in January, it'll be full steam ahead, and that'll lead us up in the spring practice and right in the summer, and then we'll be back before you know it.
Well, Coach Hall, we appreciate your time as always. It's been fun this year joining you along this journey, and you've always been so gracious with your time. And I know tonight was not a very easy night to talk about what we had to talk about, but you were professional as always, and I appreciate your time. And best of luck this offseason. And looking forward to talking to you again next year. With that being
Yeah,
said,
for sure, TJ. We go way back. Back when I was in high school and you were just a young pup back then.
that's it.
But man, very proud of the things that you have done and your impact here in the community. And always love sitting down with you, win or loss, man. It's always good to talk about it and kind of get out
Well,
there.
let's
So
get nostalgic a little bit. People have listened to us enough, so if you want to go ahead and turn us off, go ahead. But I got a quick story to tell. So you were a standout player at Florida State, and you were very good friends with PK Sam
I remember this. Yeah.
back in the day. Yeah, and so I am a proud Florida Gator fan. My parents have had season tickets in the South End Zone for quite some time. Well, if you remember a certain memory, PK Sam caught a long touchdown pass in that end zone,
That I do.
breaking my young Gator heart.
Were you at that game?
I was, yes, yes. I was at that game
Did you
with my
cry?
parents. I don't
You
I don't
probably
know.
did.
I don't know. We can call it candy.
You
I don't
probably
think I
did.
cried. I don't think I cried. But to rub it into my face almost, I don't think you meant to do it, but I'm just a young emotional kid. I can't handle anything at this point in time. And you walk into my mom's classroom during
Yep.
Christmas break and you have PK Sam with
I
you.
remember that.
And I was
We
like, you
got
have
the picture.
I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, man. The guy that just broke my heart, here's Tyler hanging out with him, bringing him into my mom's class." And so, long
Because
story
Matt was
short,
there
took a
too.
picture. Yep, took a picture with him, and we still have it to this day. I'm in
Yeah,
my
man.
little Atlanta Braves
I
shirt,
remember.
and yeah. So
I remember that more than what I did like last week. It's
you didn't turn me over to the Florida State side, but
we
yeah,
tried.
yeah. A little hatred left my heart that day. So
Oh man, we tried.
that you've always been a stand up guy and been a real help and everything. So again, just thank you as always for your time.
No, I appreciate you and appreciate the team behind the camera. Man,
Yes, yes.
y'all have done a phenomenal job of one just getting this off the ground and with the radio not carrying us anymore. Just the progress and from the live stream to the sideline to the video here,
Mhm.
it's really been phenomenal. So thank y'all very much. Looking forward to even bigger, better things next year. But y'all are first class and y'all are the best. So greatly appreciate it.
Yep, Mr. Clifford, Mr. Wayne, Miss Tammy back here, Rivers over here.
Yeah.
You guys have been a huge help. I don't want to start naming everybody off because I know I'll leave somebody off. But again, just thank you for all you guys for what you did. And I know Coach Hall ain't that bad to look at, but I am. So thank y'all for hanging out with us here.
We got faces
And
made for radio.
I do, and
No, we.
I got a voice for newspapers, so I mean, I got to take it even a step further. And thank you to Pool Realty for letting us use their facility this whole year. So again, thank you to all of our many sponsors and all the people that came along with this ride to make this happen. So this is the final show for the coaches show this year, but River Country Sports, we're not going anywhere. We got plenty more coming up. The Light at Christmas Parade this year. We're all big Christmas on the Square people here
Oh
in
yeah,
Suwannee County. So
absolutely.
the Light at Christmas Parade will be broadcasted live beginning around 6 o'clock at night. There that December 8th. So again, 6 p.m. December 8th, the Saturday. Christmas on the Square Light at Parade will be broadcasted live on River Country Sports. We will also be doing basketball, wrestling, soccer, baseball, softball, whatever spring sports are coming up, we had the chance to broadcast that. So there will be plenty more exciting information coming out about that. So definitely stay tuned to our Facebook page and our YouTube page for more information regarding that. Again, thank you, big thank you to Coach Hall for being gracious with this time. Thank you to our show sponsors, West Haney Chevrolet, Hardee's of Live Oak, and Howard Street Dry Cleaners. Again, River Country Sports will be back throughout this year with more basketball, wrestling, softball, and baseball. And until next season, I am your host, TJ Vickers, signing off for the final time this year for the Coaches Show. Have a great night, and as always, go Dogs.